Inside the Castle, the podcast that goes behind castle doors to have real conversations with real people about solving the nation's toughest challenges. I'm one of your hosts today, Angie Fryermuth.
And I'm Aaron Schneider. Today's guest is Michael Deegan, New Horizons Program Manager at the Institute for Water Resources. Thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
For today's episode, we want to showcase the New Horizons program. But before we get into that discussion, let's get to know our guest. Michael, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role with the Corps?
Sure. My name's Michael Deegan. I've been with the Corps for over 10 years, and I've been with the Institute for Water Resources for that whole time. Before coming to the Army Corps of Engineers, I worked on my PhD. I have a PhD in Public Administration and Policy, and came to the Corps through the National Academies of Science program for research. And after that, doing that research program with IWR, they decided to pick me up as a full-time federal employee. So I've had a good run with IWR for the last 10 years or so.
Great. Well, we're happy to have you on the USAFE team. And as Aaron mentioned, we're going to showcase the New Horizons program today. Can you talk a bit about the New Horizons program?
Yes. So New Horizons is a program at the Institute for Water Resources, and we specifically are at the WRC Water Resources Center, which is one of the centers inside of IWR. It's essentially like a mini think tank program inside of IWR. I just want to kind of up front just let you know that one of the reasons why I'm excited to be here, this program is launching a detail opportunity in New Horizons. So I wanted to get that, didn't want to bury the lead. It's one of the things I wanted to talk about today. But essentially, New Horizons functions as a little bit like a mini think tank program for IWR.
Thanks, Michael. So you talked about this being a mini think tank. And you know, I think I've heard a lot, like think tank in DC. And really, what does that mean to be a think tank? What do you do, and what is the purpose of this program?
So from New Horizons, what we try to do when the program's projects are active, we define emerging issues that will impact the Corps over the next, say, 3 to 5 years. We picked this time frame so it's long enough so we're outside of dealing with immediate issues that might be handled through, say, the normal budget process. But 3 to 5 years is also not too far out in the future, so USAFE's leadership can see the value of our work and see themselves as decision makers. We address current or national level civil works issues, primarily civil works, posed by headquarters, divisions, or IWR leadership. Most of the projects provide what I would call innovative analysis, innovations to improve our data collection, modeling, or ultimately improve our policy analysis. We try to access as many folks from IWR as possible to be on our teams. We're looking forward to this detail opportunity as a way to access expertise outside of IWR, which has been an important thing for me over the last year or so. The program's relatively new. It's been going on for approximately 2 years.
And earlier you mentioned, and just now too, that there's an opportunity for people to get involved in this program. And really, can you talk a little bit about who would make good candidates and what you're looking for?
Yeah, we don't try to limit in terms of the candidate pool. The idea is people coming with, if they've seen problems in their home district that they have potential solutions for, or a new way to define problems. We're looking for subject matter experts across all functional areas, across all mission areas. So probably one of the more recent examples of that is we've had the opportunity of getting Kat McCain, who's on the Revolutionized Civil Works team, working on the topic of trust, for example. So that was something I think that cuts across all of our mission areas. So doesn't have to be pocketed in a single focal point. Quite often, New Horizons projects cuts across multiple domains. So we're looking for those types of people.
Thanks, Michael. That's great. And it's really good to be able to pull people from the outside in and really get that diverse viewpoint and experience added to your team. And so when you do pull somebody in, like, what are some of the example projects that are part of this initiative that they may be working on? I know you mentioned Trust with Kat McCain, but what else is out there?
Sure. In FY21, we had a few other projects running. One of the big topics for headquarters and leadership is on the topic of environmental justice across the country in general. And New Horizons put together a few talking points for our leadership on authorities and programs, or a review of those authorities and programs that might be a good fit for environmental justice. Our team lead there was Susan Durden. She did a great job managing what I would call a fluid situation. This topic is going to be moving in different directions, and she did pretty well. So environmental justice, the future of work. Kathy Schumann on our team led a team, IWR folks, on working in a virtual environment. I know all of our districts are thinking about this. We put together a few ideas looking at how the private sector is doing things. Other government agencies are working on this topic. The other types of more substantive papers on topic areas. One of our economists is looking at leveraging of economic potential of urban rivers. Sung Lee is his name. He'll be giving a presentation on this topic very soon, actually. Another more on natural nature-based features type of work, valuing coastal wetlands. A review was completed recently by Paul Gagnon, and that looks at, again, about looking at coastal wetlands. On the topic of public outreach, using geodemographic data to improve public outreach, one of our folks, Brian Lee, recently completed a paper on that topic as well. And then we had more short-term type of things. When Word of 2020 was released, one of my folks, Tyson Vaughn, was able to answer the mail. Our director said, "Can you get me something in less than a week to do a review of everything that's in Word of 2020?" And so we were able to do these hot take type of things. And then there's other topics as well. We've got one of the things that's kind of near and dear to my heart is on decision analysis and support. I'm putting together a lunch and learn series, leveraging some opportunities with our contractors. I'm personally interested on all things related to decision science. And I can go through the history of it. I can go more, but I just wanted to mention that in addition to actual projects, we also tried to do general support as well. I am personally the liaison with the Revolutionary Civil Works team, and I love hearing everything that's going on with that team. It really keeps IWR, or me personally, and I hopefully IWR, connected to the things at the RCW. We work with the West Point cadets. Every year they have young cadets working on the systems engineering program. We provide them mentor and data for their projects. They recently just won an award on that. And we've worked with universities, a collaboration with the University of Cincinnati on urban flooding in an open knowledge network they're developing, and then direct support to business line managers. In my case, I have a relationship with the flood risk management business line manager, and a good working relationship with asset management as well. So just a few other different types of things that we can do.
Well, that's great. That sounds like a really broad array of different types of analysis and projects that folks can work on with you. So that's really exciting. You talked earlier about this being kind of like a mini think tank, and you've talked about how you do innovative analysis and policy analysis. But what I really want to know is, how do you take this analysis and kind of this theoretical application, and how do you bring it to the practical side where districts can implement these things on the ground? And really, what does success look like for this program?
So in terms of success, that's an excellent question, because we struggle with this. Well, I struggle with this because I have to take the heat for this, right? So I'm the program manager. So I struggle with this because I would say short-term success for New Horizons specifically is providing USACE leadership with new perspectives and innovative ideas to help them better define or address emerging issues. So things that they just can't get to because they're so busy, right? Longer-term success, however, would be for the program to sustain a dialogue with leadership on these innovative ideas and emerging issues to allow the organization to always be looking ahead, always be looking at new horizons. Now, here's the challenge. So you asked about how do we get this and turn this into reality. I don't know if I have a perfect answer, but I think this goes back to the long-term success. Strategic thinking that occurs perhaps maybe a little bit more frequently might allow us to develop and test the ideas. So when I say test, I mean allowing innovative ideas the opportunity to fail. Not every idea under New Horizons or any innovative group at the core, because I know there's a lot of folks out there doing innovative work, not everything leads to implementation. So being allowed the opportunity to test and then fail fast, let's say, it might maintain a positive energy in our teams. And specifically, I'm talking about my New Horizons team, but maybe across the core, so that we can collaborate more with the districts and continue that innovative solutions that do work. From my perspective, to get New Horizons ideas out, I think maybe as an organization, or maybe it's just my perception, to be a little bit less risk averse, to allow folks to be innovative without viewing it as a negative. I think New Horizons does this. It views innovation as a good thing. And if we can just view the benefits without fearing of the fail, then I think it could be a reality. One of my colleagues once informed me that Google X, they reward their teams who fail. And I think the idea is that trying and failing is better than holding on to an idea and fear that it won't work. I think there's like what's that hockey quote from former NHL player Wayne Gretzky? You miss 100% of the shots you never take. And so I try to promote that sort of philosophy at New Horizons.
Absolutely. Like, I'm a firm believer and we learn from our mistakes. And so I think this program is great to have within the Corps to really let those innovative people shine. Speaking of challenges, as with any program within the Corps, especially programs involving some innovation, there's always challenges. So can you talk about some of the challenges that you've faced when trying to implement some of these ideas?
Sure. The biggest challenge that we have right now is getting connected outside of IWR. We need to do a better job of collaborating with our districts and divisions. And that's why we're offering up this detail opportunity. We want to build relationships, to build that bench, get new perspectives. So we're not just, looking at things from one perspective. Although we have pretty diverse teams at IWR, the value of the district perspective is, I place a lot of high value on it. So it's been challenging, but I think having these details in FY22 could be a game changer for the program. Building on that, other types of challenges, what I would love to see is more collaboration just on our projects within USACE and outside of USACE as well. I'd love to see there being collaborations with state partners, private sectors, universities. There are other innovative thinkers out there and other federal agencies as well. Federal Highway has a Center for Accelerating Innovation, DoD, Defense Innovation Board, USGS has a National Innovation Center. I'd like to collaborate more with folks like that. I think that would help us get to where we need to go.
Yeah, I think that collaboration with the field is really important in getting that district perspective. I know we have you on the show here to communicate this program and these projects that you're working on, but how normally do you communicate these to the field so the field is aware of the actions and activities that you have ongoing and maybe for the opportunities to assist and give you some new good ideas?
Yeah, so this podcast is my first shot, really. I could talk a little bit about how the program works itself. In one of the steps on how the program works is that the final products, sometimes they're written papers or presentations, but when they are written papers, we have the opportunity to elevate in two ways. One, we basically do direct presentations to our headquarters proponents. So the way that IWR is set up is that we do have this direct relationship with headquarters. Getting it out to the field is a little bit more difficult. There is a second part of the process that I should work to promote a bit, or I should work on for this program, is that we have an editorial review board at IWR where we could put these out for publication. And once it gets that stamp, then it can go out to anyone as well. I would love it if there was a New Horizons website. There isn't one currently. There might be some logistics with ACIT we may need to work on, but I need to do some sort of a road show, and I'm aware. This is my first crack at getting the awareness out a little bit better.
Well, let us give you a second crack at it. And so for those of you listening to this podcast and find this program interesting, what can they do in order to apply or get involved in this program?
Yeah, so right now the proposal process, there's a one-pager proposal that, and I'm not sure if there's going to be any links provided or whatnot, but the easiest way is to just directly email me directly, michael.a.deegan@usace.army.mil, and I can walk you through it. The process is relatively quick, and I work with anyone who has an idea on how to put together that one-page proposal. And then from there, we can get rolling. What we'd like to do is 120-day details, ideally. And we know that folks have commitments at their home district, so we're willing to kind of negotiate on time. But as long as they're doing 50% of their time on New Horizons, I'm pretty comfortable with whatever goes down.
Thanks, Michael. That's really great. I think, we're nearing the end of our session here. Before we part ways, I just want to find out, is there anything else that you want to add for our listeners?
Not really. I think the big push is, as you're saying, we got to get the word out about what the program is doing. And I thank you for this opportunity. The detail opportunities that we're going to be running in FY22, I think, is a great way to connect with our districts. And again, please contact me with any information. I want to collaborate with more folks.
That's great. And I think when you have either projects you're working on that you think might be really interesting for our listeners, or something that you've completed and there's reports out there that we can direct them to, maybe we could have specific podcasts on those topics to try to highlight those for you as well. So we'll continue to highlight the New Horizons activities and projects. We hope you find a good candidate, to promote these projects and keep those ideas rolling. But with that, thank you for joining us today for this edition of Inside the Castle. We appreciate you and your insights. To our listeners, we want to hear from you. What topics are important to you and people you're interested in hearing from? Until next time, be safe, be innovative, and be revolutionary.
To provide your feedback, email us at cw.infrastructure.team@usace.army.mil. Stay tuned for additional Inside the Castle podcasts as we explore life inside the Corps and revolutionize civil works together.